The sky is not falling, despite what you're reading in the headlines. I feel like I do a lot of this type of talk. Everybody's talking about inflation, the war, $200 oil, and our ever-increasing interest rate environment in Canada. Oh, and house prices, which are cooling off, by the way. And I'm here to tell you the sky's not falling, at least not today, and I don't think it's going to fall, at least in Alberta, in the foreseeable future, even though many, if not most analysts are expecting the Bank of Canada to announce another interest rate hike in July, potentially as high as 75 basis points. What does that mean? What can you do? Should you not sleep tonight? I just want to lend some perspective and then give you a little tool that I use to help manage my household finances, because that is something that you can control and everybody should do it. It's really easy, so I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But here's an example of what would happen if you're on a variable rate mortgage with monthly payments that change with the rate. If you have a $300,000 mortgage and the interest rate goes up by 75 basis points, so say you were at 2.8, interest rate jumps, you would go from $1,389 payment to $1,506 payment, $117 a month change. For most people, $120 a month is not going to put them on the streets. Most people. And one of the reasons for that, not the only reason, but one of the reasons for that, and everyone suddenly has forgotten about this, but the vast majority of mortgage holders in Canada right now were stress tested, which means they had to apply for their mortgage that they have now at the qualifying rate, which I think today is 5.25. There's talk about changes to that. But your mortgage was stress tested. So even though your contract rate is lower, in some cases much lower, you were stress tested at a higher qualifying rate. And that was the federal government's way of ensuring that if interest rates started to climb, homeowners could afford the increased interest costs. So there you go. It's just a little reminder. Don't read the news, call your mortgage broker if you're concerned, because the news is largely designed for clickbait. And I want to show you an example, again, to lend some perspective. Headline in CBC News, nearly 1 in 4 homeowners say they'd have to sell their home if interest rates rise more, according to the survey. Manulife Bank did a survey back in April, and you know, the answers to the questions sounded really bad and people are just going to lose their homes left, right, and center. Well, further down in the article, the VP of Sales at Manulife says it's important to remember that the survey is an indication of how Canadians feel about their financial situation rather than a reflection of their actual financial risk. So right there, it feels like the sky is falling, especially if you observe the 24/7 news cycle and you never stop scrolling on Facebook. It seems like the world's going to hell in a handbasket. I say focus on what you can control. We can't control Justin Trudeau. We can't control interest rates. We can't control the weather. We can control how much money we spend every month. And even myself am surprised sometimes when I look at my finances where my money's going out the door. So I say start to cushion your finances for a rainy day. The cost of everything is getting higher. In my opinion, inflation, not so much interest rates, inflation is the big dark cloud over Canadian households right now. Sticker shock at the gas pumps. Wow. It's so expensive to put gas in your car, yet you kind of have to do it. We live in Canada, we live in big urban centers. We live in rural centers where you got to drive an hour to get your kids to sports. So there are some things you can't control. Cost of groceries, you can't control that really, right? You can shop smart, but you can't control it. However, really easy thing you can do to start cushioning your finances a little bit and just keep a little bit more of your money and discretionary income, keep a little more in the bank. The first thing you have to do is not have multiple credit cards and bank accounts all over the place, because it's just too hard to keep track of. So what I do, and I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just telling you what I do as a business owner and a homeowner, is I have one account. My husband and I have one joint account and one joint credit card, and all of our household finances run through that, including if I buy a really nice handbag. I mean, it all shows up there. There's no secrets. And this is gonna be hard for some of you, but it all goes through there. So at any time, myself or my husband can log on to our bank account online and see everything that is being spent in the household by anyone at any time. The second part of this is you must be willing to sit down once a month, preferably with a glass of wine, open your laptop, log on to that bank account, and review those line items, those expenses coming out of those accounts. Just review them, just look at them. Like, no spreadsheets involved here. I'll give you an example. I just put $35 a month back in our household finances because we did not realize that our teenage son signed up to get his resume formatted to look pretty, and it cost $35 for the software. And then when he was done with it, that company kept billing us $35 a month. It was not a one-time expense. We didn't know, my son didn't know. If I didn't check my account once a month or every couple months, I wouldn't have noticed that. So we were able to rectify it, 35 bucks a month back in our pocket. We didn't even know we were spending. Another example, I'm watching a TV show on Amazon Prime the other night. I go click on my Prime Video account, and I'm signed up for 4 different channels on Prime Video, 3 of which I was not even watching anymore. And I was getting billed for that every month. Another 20 bucks back in my pocket every month. So now we're at 50 bucks a month. I just put back in my pocket, and all I did was look at my online accounts. Like, that's all I did. I didn't have to get in my car, I didn't have to get off the couch. I just sent some emails, made some cancellations. I mean, very easy to do. But I think a lot of people aren't doing it because we're in a very digitized economy. We don't have to take that $20 out of our wallet. We just click, spend, subscribe to something, and then sometimes we forget about it. So once a month, look at all your spending and look for easy places to cut, low-hanging fruit. I do this in my business as well. So if you are an entrepreneur or business owner, at least once a year, twice a year is better, look at all your expenses that you spend on your business. Your variable costs usually are where you can cut. You might have signed up for some marketing thing 5 years ago that isn't providing any value anymore. Get rid of it. It seems like maybe a small amount of money, but it all adds up. Remember, we're in an inflationary, interest rate rising, unstable economic environment right now. It's very volatile. There's a war in the Ukraine, which is impacting global oil supply. I mean, there's a lot of things happening, but you can control what's happening around you, and you can control where your money goes, whether you have a little bit of money or a lot. You can hedge against inflation with some of these little changes to your monthly finances. If you have any questions at all, you know where to find me. 382-7335. You can call or text or look me up at karriflatla.com. And of course, the second big thing that you can control is your mortgage. Call your mortgage broker and get advice about your mortgage, and don't wait till 3 days before it's coming up for renewal. 3 months is better. I will see you on the other side. Have a great weekend, and talk to you next Friday Fire. Take care. Bye-bye.